Hello, I'm back. This is part two of my collaboration with Dawn from WPlus9. I'm going to be using Copic colors. I'm going to show you in part two how I colored these two awesome images. And part one, I showed you how I masked it off and did a quick background. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I always like to start with a light color, and I'm using E000. If you didn't watch part one, I kind of talked how my sister was over and I kind of came up with a coloring key because I wasn't able to film. So it's kind of nice to have the colors handy. Usually I just kind of wing it. So I'm just colored this cute little belly orange, and then I'm blending that out with a lighter color and some 0. And I know you guys are busy, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. So I'm just using some blues and some grays and a cream, well, a blue, a beige, and a cream. And I'll be writing the colors on this great grid stamping pad so you can see them. So I'm just mixing in some gray now, and then I'll be adding a little blue, and then I'll be blending it out. And I always say it's like a lot of give and take. Sometimes you kind of fade out the color and you need to add a little bit more. So while I do this, I'll just chat. A lot of people play music, but I guess I can be chatty Cathy. So, but before I do, now see I'm going back and adding some more of my darker color here. Usually I want the bird to be subtle, kind of like, I mean, if you look in the trees, sometimes it's hard to see the bird, you know, they blend in with their environment. So I want the bird to be kind of like you have to really look for them. So it's kind of hard for me to do light colors. And now I'm dotting in some of the gray and the blue, and then going back and adding more in the little nooks and crannies. And that's just basically what I'm going to be doing the whole time. But hopefully you'll see that anyone can color, you can do this, and my goal is for everyone to feel successful with their coloring. Now, another way to blend colors together is to add dots. So throughout today, you'll be seeing me dotting in some color. It makes it very interesting. So now I'm adding some beige dots there, and I added some blue dots, and I'll be dotting the leaves as well. A lot of times I add white dots too, and once I turn off the cameras and then I finish the background, I go back and I might add some white dots, or, you know, I just add other things. Now, this is a very pretty flower, and what I'm doing is, I'm really not doing any feathering here or anything. I'm just adding my darker color, the red, to each corner. So it's really doesn't, you know, you don't have to be a brain surgeon or anything to do this. And you don't have to be an artist like Dawn. So now I'm taking my medium color and I'm just coloring on top of that red and extending the line a little bit further. So it's fading the red and it's blending the two colors. And I'm just going to continue all the way around the flower doing that. And then in the center where it's tiny little petals, I just kind of dot and dash. I'm not going to go crazy trying to be perfect in the center, and I don't think there's any point to. So now I'm adding a little bit more of the lighter color. I'm using 3 colors, and you can see them every now and then, depending on how I move my paper. You could take a screenshot, you know, pause the video and take a screenshot of these colors if that's beneficial. So I'm going to go ahead and keep coloring this. I'm just blending and adding a little bit more, and blending and adding a little bit more. Every now and then I'll pick up my white, and I've been referring it to using my zero. Sorry, it's not white. Using the zero as to find that sweet spot. You know, I want one little area in each petal to kind of be faded out, to be a highlighted area, and I refer to that sometimes as a sweet spot. So I'm taking my zero, my colorless blender, and I'm just highlighting a little white. I'm calling it white because it looks white compared to the red, but I'm finding a sweet spot in each petal. And then I'm going to go back and add a little bit more color just because I like to, that's me. So then I'll move on to the other flower once I'm done with this. And I'll be using some, I'm trying to think, orange, and I love oranges and flowers. I'm looking for my card. It's not in front of me. Now you'll notice that, you know, there's some areas, you know, where there isn't any blue, like under the flower that I'm coloring now, and it's just kind of white and stark and everything. Well, that'll be filled in later with some grays or beiges, and it always comes together in the end. So you always have to trust your instincts, like the colors you pick up, and just follow it through, and it always comes through in the end. And it's fun to mix colors that you wouldn't normally like to use. I've been finding that E50, which I use it as a skin tone, is a great color to mix with 2 other colors for flowers or something, like as your lighter color. Also, you could color this flower like one solid color, and then take a rag with some Copic Various ink and get some texture that way, and then just add some color in the nooks and crannies. And trust me, that'll look really good. But you would definitely want to do that before you do the bird or anything, because sometimes it bleeds out, and then you could clean up the lines with your zero. Okay, so I'm sure you're a fan of Dawn's. I mean, who isn't? But if you haven't heard of the coloring challenge, it's sadly it's almost over. We're on day 29, and I'll definitely be doing it again. This is my 4th coloring challenge, and it's been really fun. So I hope if you've just been watching, I hope you'll consider jumping in next time. It's an easy breezy, no stress challenge. Now on the flower on the left, I just put down E50. I think it's E50, or it's E000. I'm sorry, I can't see with my glasses. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on the other flower. I'm adding a darker color to the corners and kind of bringing it in a little bit more, and then I'll be using the medium color to like blend that out. So the coloring challenge, it's been great. It's been so inspiring seeing everyone, what they color, whether it's coloring pages or watercolors or markers or distress inks. And then you can share on my blog by uploading on day 1 or on Instagram. There's a huge supportive group, many wonderful people, and a lot of people have made great friendships, which is just the icing on the cake. Now I have my lighter color here, and I'm blending out the darker, the 2 darker colors. I don't know, sorry, sometimes it's weird watching yourself. So the dark, the medium, and the light. This is the medium, and then I'll be going back with the light color and just kind of smooshing that color around, finding that sweet spot if it's not there, just so I have some highlights on each petal. And again, in the center of the flower, I'm just dibble dabbling around with some color. No one's going to analyze the little petals that are in the center. They're going to look at the overall coloring. So don't spend a lot of time with that, or I don't think you need to anyway. So I'm taking the E00, and you can see the colors above my paper, and I'm just kind of blending out the petals again and just going around my flower again. Coloring is relaxing. It can lower your blood pressure. It makes people happy. So sometimes it's good to have permission. Like that's what the coloring challenge does, is you have permission to color and not make a card. Just color for the sake of coloring. So it's been really fun, and thank you all for your support. I'm looking forward to the next one. My husband might not so much, but because it really takes a lot of time. So here I'm bringing back my darker color, and I'm adding it to the little nooks and crannies, which I always go back and add just a little dab in the nooks and crannies, and that's what really makes your coloring pop. So don't be afraid to do that. If you make a mistake and put too much on, you can always go back with that medium or the lighter color and just soften it. Now I'm just going to fill in some of these stems so I see where I am, what I need to do next. And the tree limb and his little claws, and just using a basic brown, like use whatever you have, always, anyway. Now I'm going to, I noticed that I missed a petal there. And I think I might have mentioned this in part 1. I'm using this flower. Sorry, I'm jumping around, but this flower I'm coloring the same as the big one. But I mentioned, once I turn the camera off and I finish my card, because coloring takes so much time, you can only watch so much. And it's a very basic card layout. I might add some extra details. So to finish this off, I just cut a strip of vellum. I put it across the bottom with the sentiment. And then I thought, I just need something to pop. So I colored another one of these beautiful blooms and 3 of the leaves, and then I popped that on top of the vellum. Now also what I did, I just folded my vellum over the edges and taped it on the back. Now I'm ready to color my leaves, and I'm coloring using this beautiful turquoise blue color, and then I think you'll see the colors written down, but I used like one of the beige colors I was talking about, how it's fun to use that color. So I'm just going around, and then I'm pulling in this other color here, and it's listed, on the grid paper when I move my paper. And the G40 will help you just blend those colors. And notice I'm not doing any feathering. You can color and have beautiful shading without doing all the feathering. If you use the right color combos, the colors, the alcohol in the markers just does the magic, does the work for you. So I'm taking E000 here, and I'm just adding some dots. Usually the leaves aren't perfect, and there's a lot of little texture and dots and different veins or different things. So I'm dotting around the green and in that sweet spot on the leaves with my beige, and then I'll be going back and doing some of that with the different greens that I used on my flower, the leaves. It's super fun to do, and I really like the look. I've been doing this a lot more. And so if I'm not using a white dot, I'm using some kind of a dot. Can guarantee that. Now I picked up my darker color again. I'm going back in those little creases and adding just a little smidge of color. I just always love to do that. I think it makes a big difference. Okay, now you don't need to watch me color all the leaves because I'm doing it the exact same way. So close your eyes on the count of 3 because I'm going to speed this up super, super fast. 1, 2, 3. I don't know. There, it's going fast now. So I'm just doing the same exact thing. And blending that out with your lighter colors. Now these tiny leaves, I'm coloring them all the same with just 2 colors. It's just a really quick color. You know, they're not that noticeable, and I wanted the other leaves to have a little bit more of a color range, I guess. So pretty simple and easy. Just 2 colors. And then I always, as you know, like to go back with that dark color. Now we're using 3 colors for these other flowers. They're kind of like a daisy. I don't know all my flower names. And I'm starting with the dark color, bringing in the medium, and then blending it out with the light color. Now, at the end of the video, this is the color combination. I mean, sorry, not at the end. Once I turned it off and I decided to color another flower and pop it on top of my card. So I used these 3 colors, and I'm also using the berries this with the same color combination. I love berries, and these could be like red, they could be like blueberries, they could be whatever. But I decided I wanted them to be blue. And then I added a little white gel pen highlight to all the berries, and then I used glossy accents on top of them. And that's how I finished those off. Super easy, super fun. Now, I love, for years and years, I've been outlining my images with blues, and sometimes I like to use grays, sometimes a cool gray, sometimes a warm gray. So today I've picked a warm gray, and I'm just tracing the line of the image like on the bottom, not on the top. I'm just going around my image and finding those areas, the bottom of the branch, the bottom of the leaf, the flower, the side of the bird, under his beak, you know, that kind of thing. There's no right or wrong. This is just what works for me. And then I'll take another lighter color and then trace that around the entire image and use that to blend it out. And it just kind of brings the coloring of the image into focus and highlights what you've done. But I do love using a blue. But with this, there's so many colors going on, I felt like a neutral is better. So now this is the lighter color, the W1. A lot of times I like to mix a cool gray with a warm gray, but today I'm just using warm. And I'm just going around. Now I'm using this around the entire image, and then you can see how it softens that first gray that I used. And there you have it. Here's the full card. You can see the center flower and the 3 leaves over the vellum is what I popped and added glossy accents to the berries, lots of little dots of Copic colors. And thank you so much, Dawn. This was so much fun. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe and have a great week. Alrighty, bye.